If you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you think it would be cruel of me to go downstairs and just start kicking my dog for fun. Well, I actually happen to agree with you. Not exactly a hot take, I know. But have you ever asked yourself why it would be cruel for me to go and do that? In this video, I'm going to be exploring that question, and hopefully, by the time the video's over, I will have left you with some food for thought. From my experience, it does seem like most people do recognize that animals, like my dog, aren't just mindless objects. They're sentient, conscious individuals who have the ability to suffer and therefore don't want to suffer. And so I'm sure that most people would also agree that there's a clear difference between me kicking my dog for fun and me kicking something like a stone. A stone doesn't have a brain or any mechanism that allows it to experience consciousness. In other words, stones can't feel pain or suffer in any way. Or at least I hope not. And so this is why I think that most people would agree that it's cruel to kick a dog for fun, but it's not cruel to kick a stone for fun. Most people also rightly recognise that unfortunately sometimes we need to cause harm to others in order to protect ourselves or to prevent worse harm from happening. For example, there's a clear difference between me kicking a dog for fun and me kicking a dog that's about to attack a group of children. We recognise that the former is a completely unnecessary infliction of harm, but the latter is a genuinely necessary infliction of harm because it's the only way to prevent a worse harm from happening. And so we don't consider that cruelty. And I'm sure most people watching this agree with that assessment, as I doubt you'd call someone who saves a group of children from a vicious dog someone who's guilty of animal cruelty. And so I think unnecessarily causing harm to animals is a pretty good example of what most people mean when they use the term animal cruelty. Now, with that being said, let's talk about pigs. If we're all in agreement that kicking a dog for fun counts as animal cruelty, is it also animal cruelty if I kick a pig for fun? The reason why I chose pigs for this comparison is because pigs are actually very similar to dogs in many different ways. Pigs are just as intelligent, if not more intelligent, and can learn tricks just like any dog. They're kept as pets by many people around the world. They express their feelings by wagging their tails and rolling over for belly rubs just like dogs. I've experienced this firsthand. But most importantly, they are just as sentient and just as capable of suffering as dogs. And therefore, if it's cruel to kick a dog because they're sentient and can suffer, then logically it must also be cruel to kick a pig for fun because they're also sentient and can also suffer, right? Well, the other reason why I chose pigs for this comparison is that there are far worse ways of suffering than simply being kicked. I won't be showing any graphic footage in this video, but what I will be doing is just describing a few of the things that happen, just so you know what I'm talking about. It's currently standard practice in UK farms to cut the tails off of pigs without any anaesthetic. Mother pigs are forced to live inside cramped, unhygienic cages where they don't even have enough room to turn around, and they stand in their own feces for months. And lastly, the vast majority of pigs in the UK are humanely slaughtered by being lowered into CO2 gas chambers where they panic and scream while they suffocate to death. And so, for us to determine whether or not this counts as animal cruelty, we just need to ask ourselves a few questions. Firstly, would we be okay with this happening to dogs? Secondly, is all this harm and suffering necessary or unnecessary? In this day and age, do we really need to be farming and killing pigs for food? Or any other animal for that matter? I think it's more than pretty obvious that we don't need to be doing this, especially with all the plant-based alternatives for meat that we have nowadays. But I don't want you to just take my word for it that eating meat is unnecessary. And so I've put links in the description to articles by the NHS and the British Dietetics Association, confirming that humans do not need to eat animals to be healthy if they're eating a balanced plant-based diet instead. And so if you're willing to accept everything that I've said so far about how if something's cruel to do to a dog, then it must also be cruel to do to a pig, and that we can only really justify causing harm to animals if it's a genuine necessity, then I doubt you'll think I'm exaggerating when I say that these industries are responsible for some of the worst animal cruelty on Earth. And yet millions of people who claim to be animal lovers are either knowingly or unknowingly paying for this cruelty to happen. And so the final question I'd like to ask you in this section is, if it's cruel to unnecessarily kick a dog, is it cruel to unnecessarily force a pig into a gas chamber? Look, let's be real. It's probably never going to be possible for us to completely avoid all forms of animal cruelty and be 100% ethically perfect. But the fact that we can't be perfect shouldn't stop us from trying to make progress. And one of the best and most effective ways you can contribute to this progress and help reduce the amount of animal cruelty that's happening in the world is to try and remove as many animal products from your diet and lifestyle as you can. All of the horrendous suffering I detailed earlier could easily be avoided if everyone that was buying pork products just bought something else in the supermarket or ordered something else on the menu in a restaurant. And I know it's easier said than done for some people, and just the idea of giving up animal products might seem like an impossibility for you. But as someone that used to feel that way too, I can assure you that it's a lot easier than you think it's going to be once you get used to it. And if you need any advice or recommendations or help accomplishing this, then you can either hit the link tree in the description or just give me a message on my socials and I'll see what I can do to help. But in the unlikely event that you're watching this and you actually can't give up any of these products because you do genuinely need them to survive, then at the very least, don't kick any dogs. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then a like and subscribe would really be appreciated. If you didn't like this video and you disagree with anything I've said, let me know in the comments and we can discuss. And as always, be kind to yourselves and be kind to animals. I'll see you in the next one.